Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, April the 26th. Today is National Audubon Day. It's also National Desertion Day, National Richter Scale Day, Kids and Pets Day, National Pretzel Day, National Help a Horse Day, National Arbor Day, National Hairball Awareness Day, and my home state, it's National South Dakota Day.
Here's the one I don't understand. National Desertion Day? Why would you celebrate desertion?
I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. National Dissertation Day. You probably wouldn't celebrate desertion. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me look at this. National Dissertation Day. Sorry. That does make more sense.
Oh, gosh.
I probably should bring this up. I need to get new glasses. I've noticed last couple days,
John.
several things I'm looking at. I'm like, oh, that's not quite what I thought I saw. I've got a guest today, Baker Halleran. He is a model and an actor, and we're going to be chatting with him later in the program. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
The inventor of Rip It gloves has been a drywall guy for decades. He was trying to find gloves that worked for him and his crew, but nothing was quite right. So he went out and created some. Rip It gloves fit firm in your hand and protect your hands, but still allow you to use a touchscreen. Professional athletes love the extra grip Rip It gloves gives them. Painters, roofers, contractors, but also motorcycle and horseback riders. See why everyone loves Rip It gloves at ripitgloves.com. Use promo code radio to save 25%. That's RIPIT gloves.com, promo code radio.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. A new study found that more companies are dropping their zero-tolerance drug tests because it's getting too hard to find employees.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. Especially this Monday of this week because it was the day after 420 Day. So I guess it was 2 days after.
How sad is that you can't hire people because you say, we don't want you doing drugs here?
Yeah, well, if I can't do drugs, I'm certainly not going to work here.
Wow.
I don't know.
It's a sad
It's not an issue for me at all.
Our country is in.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much. Thanks for listening to Surveys and Studies and such, brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Credit cards. They can be trouble. About 12 years ago, we did a debt snowball program and got rid of our credit cards. We were debt-free except for our house. It was awesome. But over the course of the next decade, our credit score went down. That sounds weird, but they need open accounts to give you a score. Our lower score made our insurance rates go up. We decided to get a credit card to help with that. We just pay it off every month. If you want a better credit card, check out bettercreditcards.net. They'll help you compare all the different cards to get the best one for you. That's bettercreditcards.net. And this is your Brain on Drugs, brought to you by Time4Rehab.com. 2 California Highway Patrol officers discovered a suspected drunk driver at 5 a.m. on a Sunday when he rear-ended their patrol car. The agency reported that these officers were treated for minor injuries at a nearby hospital and then released. 22-year-old man behind the wheel that ran into the California Highway Patrol vehicle was Mr. Martinez. Is that right? No, near Martinez in the Bay Area. There we go. They don't have the guy's name on here. Why wouldn't they have that? He was arrested on suspicion of drunk driving or impaired driving. They did not release his name. None of us are immune to DUI impaired drivers on the roadways, they said. Tragically, we have lost an officer in recent memory from impaired drivers. Please, #never drive impaired. So I agree. Never drive impaired. If you're drinking, get someone to give you a ride. It's a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get behind the wheel if you've been under the influence of something. It's not a good plan at all. I've got a link to this story in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Saturday Night Live's Kenan Thompson crowned a 12-year-old girl the funniest kid in America. That happened over the last weekend in New York City after a stand-up competition. A 12-year-old girl, funniest kid in America. Jenna Bush Hager revealed that on the Today Show that she is pregnant with child number 3. So congratulations are in order there.
That's nice.
And Hollywood insiders are predicting that the Avengers sequel could open with a $900 million box office. That would be a big, big deal.
That is
$900 million.
crazy.
So they're really, really expecting
They must
that.
really think this is a good one.
Yeah, they're expecting this thing to be a big deal. I'm glad somebody finally had the guts in Hollywood to make a sequel. I mean, oh wait, that's all they do these days. Either that or rehash something that's already been done.
Something that was done right the first time, and they decided to mess it up.
That. There's been a couple of new ideas, but not many. Thanks for listening to Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Join us for a fun week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the 3rd annual 80s in the Sand. We've been there the last 2 years. In addition to making a bunch of awesome new friends, we had so much fun meeting 80s actors and musicians. 80s in the Sand takes over the entire resort, so you'll mingle with them at the pools and the restaurants too. We'd love to have you join us. See the amazing lineup featuring Sammy Hagar and many more at radiotravelgroup.com. Save $200 per person for first-time guests at radiotravelgroup.com.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. Starbucks is installing needle disposal boxes in their bathrooms, not for their diabetic patients, but for their drug users who frequent their stores.
See, this is what I'm talking
that.
about. This is so sad.
Who can afford a drug habit and Starbucks? Who can afford this? Now, I'm just being silly there. I think it's a terrible idea to do that. But why in the world are they catering to this crowd? Apparently, it's such a big deal to them, and they're saying this is the path we want to go down. So, Starbucks, hats off to you on that, I guess. Wink, wink. I'm not a big fan of that. A video has gone viral of a man, this was so funny, in an Easter Bunny costume in a brawl with a couple of other men.
I watched this video.
So there's a fight.
It was, did you watch it?
Yeah, there's a fight between two guys, and I don't quite understand what they were fighting about, but it wasn't good form.
It was hilarious.
And then the Easter Bunny
jumps in.
He starts punching away.
Oh my gosh.
It was the funniest looking thing. I was like,
yeah.
At first
the cop had to come in and break him up.
I thought it was some kind of joke. I thought that was like
funny.
A friend kidding around. I'm like, what are they doing here? What is this? And the more I watched it, the more I realized, no, that's just some dude in a bunny outfit. Like,
it was so funny.
You guys are filming this. Get a load of me. I'm in a bunny outfit. I don't know what was going on there. Google has a new thing called their drone delivery business. Have you heard about this, a thing they're working on? Well, Google has a drone delivery business that has recently been granted FAA approval from the FAA.
Okay.
Federal Aviation Administration. Is that what that is?
Sure.
Or is that the Future Farmers of America? No, that's FFA.
FFA.
FAA. No. Federal Aviation.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, guys. They've got permission to fly their stuff.
Google's going to be flying their drones. They got permission to do that now. So, whole new chapter in retail, apparently history, because they're going to start delivering things by drone.
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. It's just an interesting idea. We'll put it that way. Saudi women this is such a weird story. A Saudi woman has awoken from a coma. She woke up for the first time in 30 years. Can you imagine going into a coma back in 1991 is when she went into this coma. What do you think would be the biggest shock if you woke up from 1991? You woke up today. Because think about this. In 1991, there was no internet. Cell phones were new, but they weren't anything like we have today.
Right.
It was that big block. Looked like a brick.
Right.
You held it up to your head. Didn't work most places. Nowadays, we walk around with like amazing computers in our pockets.
Yeah.
So if you wake up in a coma, she's from Saudi Arabia. She woke up and everything is completely foreign to her.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that just be weird?
That would be so bizarre.
I've got a link to that story if you want to read all about it. The U.S. Navy is investigating some reports of a hidden camera that was placed inside the women's room on one of their ships. That's not good. Don't do that kind of stuff. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says a machine is coming soon that will connect your human brain to a computer. I
not
don't
my human
think
brain.
we need that. Elon, I'm excited for some of the stuff you're working on. It's like really cool, but stay away from my brain if you could.
Yeah, not happening with me.
I don't really think I need anybody poking around in my brain to connect it to a computer. We're as close as we need to be. Most people are on their cell phones enough that it's almost connected to their brain. So I don't know that we need to go that final mile.
I'd go back to dial-up before I do that.
Yeah, me too. A North Texas pizza restaurant has been shut down after employees were putting laxatives in the food. It was a restaurant called Mr. Jim's. So if anybody...
It's got to be Mr. John's now.
I kind of wondered if there was going to be an easy joke for you there. You did not disappoint, Heidi. There you go. Thanks for listening to The Scoop of the Day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net.
Do you have a credit card? Is it the very best credit card? Many people get their credit card as a response to an offer that was mailed to you. These are typically not the best cards. Check the fine print for the fees and interest. We have a website that compares many different cards being offered so you can find the one that's the best fit for you. If you'd like to find a better credit card, we'd love to help at bettercreditcards.net. There's no obligation. Just click and compare to see if we can get you a better credit card at bettercreditcards.net.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a guest joining us right now, Baker Halleran. He's an actor and a model. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. We're excited to chat with you. Now, how did you get your start in the acting and modeling business? How does somebody get started in that?
Oh, I was a young athlete. I was a star athlete as a kid, and I was always doing the school theater to meet the pretty girls. And believe it or not, I fell in love with acting then. My two dreams as a kid were to play baseball for the Boston Red Sox or be in the movies. The more acting I did, then I ended up in New York doing plays and stuff and classes, and I lived over in Milan and Paris for modeling, and so I guess that's kind of how I got it. Now I'm in LA, where there's the most opportunity.
Absolutely, and I see you've got a couple of projects you've worked on. We'll talk about those, but let's talk first about modeling. I talk to actors a little more often than I talk to models. How different is that to stand in front of a movie camera than it is to stand in front of just a photo, like taking camera for being a model? How different is it to do that, and which one is easier, I guess?
I would say modeling takes no brains. You just have to sit there and try and look your best and, wear the clothes that the designers want you to wear and the clients want you to wear. So the best part of modeling was the travel. So the traveling, making some good money, meeting some pretty girls. So it was fun when I was younger. Now I'm more focused on the acting, if you will.
And what would you say is the most bizarre thing that you've ever had to model? Do you ever get any weird opportunities to model bizarre things?
Oh, yeah, nothing's coming to my mind about that.
I always just kind of wonder. I'll see these people that you'll see a photo online of some ridiculous outfit, and the person in the photo, I'm just thinking, I wonder if they even want to be in that weird outfit, because some designers can be a little eccentric,
Yeah, no, I get it. I fortunately didn't have to cross that path, but I can relate. I've seen some stuff in magazines, GQ and Vogue, and you're just kind of like, what the hell are those people wearing and why?
And they're like, the new trend for 2019. I'm going, I'll bet it won't be. I doubt that's going to catch on. Looks like he's wearing a hefty bag. So are there some like main brands that you modeled for? As a model, how does that work? Do you model for like anybody, or are you under contract for a certain brand? How does that all work in the model world?
Yeah, I didn't hit any of the big campaigns like the Calvin Klein or the Polo ones, unfortunately. But I did some like showrooms and stuff in Milan for Dolce & Gabbana and Valentino, and some editorials in Italian Vogue and stuff like that. But as far as the big campaigns go, I didn't give it too long a chance. It was short-lived in my back in the day, but like I said, now I'm more focused on acting. It's almost just like a stepping stone and an opportunity to travel and make a little extra money, I would say.
That's awesome. Now, for some young person listening that's always wanted to be an actor or maybe always wanted to be a model, would you encourage them to take that as a stepping stone to go from modeling into acting? Is that a pretty good way to make it in?
Yeah, I mean, it can be. It can be a good stepping stone, but if you're just more interested in acting, I would just say stick to the acting, because the modeling business is really geared to the women. They make 4 to 5 times as much as men in campaigns. So for a campaign where a man's making $10,000, a woman's making at least $50,000.
Wow.
And you're almost just like a fixture, like an outlet. So
it's like nobody's looking at you, dude. They're all looking at her.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, for me, it was just a great opportunity to travel and make some money and, to be honest, meet some pretty girls. But other than that, it's not the best business. I would say acting takes a lot more effort and hard work. It's more fulfilling.
Oh, absolutely. Again, visiting right now with Baker Halleran. He is an actor and a model. Now, we've talked a lot about the modeling, but let's talk about the acting. I see you're in a movie called Whitey back in 2015. That sounds like an interesting idea for a movie.
Yes, that was a wonderful experience. That was about, Whitey Bulger and Boston. It was actually a TV show, so I did a few episodes of that. And then most recently, I just shot an episode playing an LAPD cop on the hit Fox show called 911, playing an
Nice.
LAPD cop. And I just auditioned yesterday for the new hit show Snowfall, which is also on FX, playing a cop. That's based on the crack cocaine epidemic that infiltrated Los Angeles in the 80s, and the CIA was at the center of it. So that was exciting. But, yeah, I'm very busy. And I have a script which I had written for me. I paid this writer. He wrote one of James Franco's last films, and it's a 52-page pilot script with the Bible for episodes 2 through 10 of season 1, and then a short film. So I'm really focused on that as well right now.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Well, as you have other projects come up, I would love to continue to stay in touch, and we can chat about those as you have fun things come in. I wish you the very best on the FX program. I hope you get that. That'd be awesome.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. I know how busy you are, and I guess we'll talk soon.
That sounds great. Again, Baker Halleran is our guest that we've been chatting with today. He's a model and he's an actor. We're going to throw a link to his IMDb page if you want to catch up with him there, and also his social media, so you can follow him on social media. Have a link to all of that in the show notes for today at johnandheidishow.com.
The inventor of Rip It gloves has been a drywall guy for decades. He was trying to find gloves that worked for him and his crew, but nothing was quite right. So he went out and created some. Rip It gloves fit firm in your hand and protect your hands, but still allow you to use a touchscreen. Professional athletes love the extra grip Rip It gloves gives them. Painters, roofers, contractors, but also motorcycle and horseback riders. See why everyone loves Rip It gloves at ripitgloves.com. Use promo code radio to save 25%. That's RIPIT gloves.com, promo code radio.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Birth control for men is a thing. So scientists developed an injectable contraceptive that is found to be 96% effective in men who used it, using the hormone progestogen, apparently. Okay. Using that and testosterone, the treatment means that guys would not have to use any other protection. You could still get other diseases and things.
Okay, but is this like a daily pill they have to take, or it's just a shot?
Know. I'm not
because
really sure.
I would not leave it up to the man to trust that he was taking a pill every single day.
Yeah, I took one of those once. I don't know.
Never even know if they've changed their underwear for the day, so you don't want to assume they're taking their pills.
We're married to each other. People are thinking right now that I don't change my underwear. I do. Daily. Just want to make sure you know all of that. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Credit cards, they can be trouble. About 12 years ago, we did a debt snowball program and got rid of our credit cards. We were debt-free except for our house. It was awesome. But over the course of the next decade, our credit score went down. That sounds weird, but they need open accounts to give you a score. Our lower score made our insurance rates go up. We decided to get a credit card to help with that. We just pay it off every month. If you want a better credit card, check out bettercreditcards.net. They'll help you compare all the different cards to get the best one for you. That's bettercreditcards.net. Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. Eosophobia. Eosophobia. Eosophobia.
I don't know.
It is the fear of dawn or the fear of daylight.
Yeah, I never.
You know who has this? Gremlins and vampires.
Vampires do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
And gremlins.
Yep.
Because second that sun comes up,
yeah,
I'm melting.
I'm melting.
Did you watch the Gremlins? Like, was that a movie that you really enjoyed?
I did enjoy the
Did you
Gremlins.
like the sequel just as much or not really?
Not as much, but I still liked it.
Same here. I thought it was good, but I just really thought the first one was like perfect. So
yeah. Agreed.
Fear of dawn or daylight. That's today's fun with phobias.
Join us for a fun week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the 3rd annual 80s in the Sand. We've been there the last 2 years. In addition to making a bunch of awesome new friends, we had so much fun meeting 80s actors and musicians. 80s in the Sand takes over the entire resort, so you'll mingle with them at the pools and the restaurants too. We'd love to have you join us. See the amazing lineup featuring Sammy Hagar and many more at radiotravelgroup.com. Save $200 per person for first-time guests at radiotravelgroup.com.
Now, some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. I'm not sure if we talked about this on the air or if we just talked about it, just you and I. I don't remember for sure. Take a listen here. A man who called himself the Saint was arrested for screaming obscenities and threatening to unleash his army of turtles.
We definitely
Did we talk about it on the air?
Fine, gentlemen.
It is certainly worth another mention. I've got more details here now. Because
where was this, though?
This was in Florida. Imagine that.
What?
I know, it's a shock. 75 miles southeast of Orlando. 61-year-old Thomas Devaney Lane was calling himself the Saint and allegedly said his army of turtles would, quote, destroy everyone. Okay? He accompanied a responding officer back to the police headquarters where he pounded on the glass walls, and then he left. And then he was at a 7-Eleven where he was cursing at customers, and they called 911. When police officers showed up, he jumped in his car, and he said, "You need to leave now, or you'll all be sorry you," I'm going to just say bleeped, because I'm not going to say what he said, "with the Saint." If I said that, I would get in trouble. I'm not going to say that.
You have to wonder what they put in the water in Florida, or what is going on.
I'm not sure. It's the sun, maybe. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
During the ordeal,
of sunny places.
He continued to shout obscenities, and he was saying that his army of turtles is going to kill you all.
Now that I
Or
would
whatever.
have waited the hour.
I kind of think,
I would have waited around to see what that looks like.
Just give me an hour. I'll have my army of turtles. I kind of wonder what he would have done in that hour.
That would have
really.
been absolutely worth the wait.
Yes. It's a guy that needs some help. Thanks for listening to Weird News, brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. A Hampton Superior Court judge sentenced David Betro of Westfield to 4 years in state prison for committing armed robbery while his wife and his infant daughter were sitting in the car waiting for him. And in addition to 3 armed robbery charges, he also pled guilty to 2 counts of reckless endangerment of a child and resisting arrest. He's 34. He has 198 days credit on his sentence for days spent in jail awaiting trial, but he's accused of robbing 2 different businesses, a quick food convenience store and the Quality Inn. In both cases, he threatened the clerk with a firearm as his wife and his daughter, infant daughter, waited outside in the car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's classy.
They used surveillance video to figure out who this guy was. And it says here, there's a case against the wife that's still pending. She's charged with robberies and child endangerment for allegedly driving the getaway vehicle in both cases. So there you go. The family that robs together apparently serves time together.
Wow.
That's today's Moment of Duh.
Do you have a credit card? Is it the very best credit card? Many people get their credit card as a response to an offer that was mailed to you. These are typically not the best cards. Check the fine print for the fees and interest. We have a website that compares many different cards being offered so you can find the one that's the best fit for you. If you'd like to find a better credit card, we'd love to help at bettercreditcards.net. There's no obligation. Just click and compare to see if we can get you a better credit card at bettercreditcards.net.
Now, these 3 things, Heidi, what do these 3 things have in common? Keys, ivory, and 88. They're all slang for something. What are you talking about if you're talking about keys or ivory?
The piano?
88. Yeah. A slang for piano. I've heard that.
I didn't know 88
I'm
was
going to tickle
slang.
the keys. I've heard, what is it called? Tickle the keys?
Tickle the ivory.
Is it the tickle in the ivory? What do you do with the keys? Going to pound the keys? I don't know what it is. But I've never heard of a piano referred to as 88. You know why they call it that?
Because there's 88 keys?
It was invented in 1988.
No, it was not. It certainly was not.
No, it's because they have 88 keys. I'm sorry. Thanks for listening to these 3 things.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of BetterCreditCards.net. Take a listen to this headline, Heidi. Husband and wife plant 2.7 million trees over the course of 20 years to restore a destroyed forest. In the early 1990s, this dude from Brazil, he's a photojournalist, he was stationed in Rwanda. So while he was there covering the genocide, the early 90s is when this happened, he decided, you know what, I need to get out of here. I need to go someplace beautiful. I'm going to go home to Brazil. So he goes home to find solace in the lap of luxury and the beautiful green.
Right.
Gets there and it's not. It's dead. Everything's gone. He found a dusty, barren land for miles and miles. The short little time that he was gone, there was a giant amount of deforestation that happened. Everything had been cut down. He said the land was as sick as I was. Only 0.5% of the land was covered in trees. You should see these before and after photos. Unbelievable. At that time, his wife made it nearly impossible. His wife made a near impossible proposal. There we go. She wanted to replant that forest. So they're thinking, how in the world are we going to do that? But they actually started working on this, and they built a network of enthusiastic volunteers, and they found partners to help sustain the project, and they worked tirelessly for 20 years. I'm going to show Heidi here. You see here's a picture from before. I'll hold this up to the microphone so you can all see it too. It doesn't work that way. But I do have a link to this. And so here it's all dirt.
Right.
And that was 2001. So this is shortly after they started. And there it is in 2019.
Whoa.
Trees as far as the eye can see. Since 1998, they've planted more than 2.7 million saplings.
Wow.
293 species of trees, rejuvenated 1,500 acres of tropical rainforest.
That is insane.
It is unbelievable. And there's a bunch of birds that return to this area, different species of reptiles as well, and 15 species of amphibians that all came back home now that the forest is back.
Wow.
Awesome story.
Yeah,
Talk about making a difference.
That's amazing.
I've got a link to that story in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.